Hello everyone, and welcome to my Bachelor Nation official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Though Jenn Tran, star of The Bachelorette, and Jonathon Johnson clearly share something special, is there still chance for a more meaningful relationship? Is there potential for more chemistry between Jenn Tran and Jonathon Johnson? Jonathon Johnson and Jenn Tran got off to a wonderful start. Is there still a chance that Jenn Tran, who sobbed during her Bachelorette season, would walk hand in hand with one of her suitors? There are many who believe that Jenn and Jonathon Johnson ought to confirm the speculations that have been going around. Jonathon's family could see they had something special during the presentation. But Jenn told his mother that Jonathon needed to be more forthcoming. Similarly, the season was jam-packed with charming, Hallmark-worthy dates and times when they laughed and enjoyed themselves immensely. But do the two actually have chemistry? The concept has definitely been floating around since Jenn and Jonathon began creating TikTok videos together. Jenn Tran made a light-hearted recreation of Jonathon Johnson being sent home during one of the TikToks. In the video, Jenn lip-read the line, "Everyone wants to know what I would do if I didn't win." Jonathon then enters the frame and plays along, saying, "I guess we'll never know." Will Jenn Tran and Jonathon still get along? Jonathon Johnson regretfully admits that he was aware Jenn Tran was sending him home. She's confessing her love for Marcus, Schaberg, and Devin, saying that he's in love with her, and I'm sitting there in this middle ground with her, where everything's great, it's fun, we have no issues with each other, no drama, he said in an admission during the Bachelor happy hour. He took the position that it's easy, but that next step isn't there in August. Fans seem to enjoy their light-hearted, pleasant TikToks, which makes it easy to support Jonathon in getting the relationship right. Jenn Tran discusses her ideas. Although Jenn Tran and Jonathon Johnson are becoming closer, their relationship shifted following the show. She declares, "To come out of this with a really, really good friend like Jonathon is a win in my book," during her visit on Bachelor Happy Hour. She isn't there yet, her encounter with Devin Strader has left her broken. "To be honest, I'm not in a position where I can even date anybody right now or entertain the idea of somebody," the woman stated. "My heart is just not there yet," she continued. She said, "Feels really, really good to have a friend like Jonathon ahead of her DWTS voyage." Reflections of Jonathon Johnson. Jonathon Johnson remarked, "The conversation has not been had, no," in response to a question regarding pursuing a romantic relationship with Jenn Tran on the Viall Files podcast. For him, though, the door is still open. "I think where I stand is probably open-minded," he said. Jonathon and Jenn. While Jenn Tran discussed it on the Off the Vine podcast, Bachelor Nation is cheering for Jenn and Jonathon to happen. "Everything turned out the way it needed to," she explains. "I am incredibly appreciative and in love with the boys in my season. There were so many great guys," she continues. She will probably be grabbing a beer with Jonathon, Jeremy Simon, or anybody else, he continues. "I want to keep those friendships so badly, but nothing more than that," the speaker continued. On Jonathon's Instagram, Jenn persistently hinted that there might be more. "Will you accept this, Rose?" Rose was the post he made. "Hey, you posted this on Instagram instead of just texting me," Jenn then said. Moreover, he is also presenting himself to her with DWTS. According to Jonathon, people are very adamant about that coming to life and still want to see that happen. He clarifies, though, that they are just friends. How do you feel? Is it possible for Jenn Tran and Jonathon Johnson to reconnect? Is there more to learn about chemistry? Do you believe that The Bachelorette erred in allowing Jonathon to leave? Please leave a remark below. There was maybe one of the most depressing, unbalanced fulfillments of Solitary Ranger's season 21 in Foundation history, and the producer's lack of regard for Jenn Tran demonstrates why the program needs to find a resolution. Throughout the Single Young Lady season 21, Jenn's interactions were presented from a male-centric perspective, typically ignoring the woman at the moment of confluence. Jenn left her mark as a contender on the solitary individual, but initially she was renowned for Joey Graziadei's season of the show. Explaining who she was and what she desired, Jenn became an unfastened Man Nation favorite in no time. Although Jenn's analysis of the single officer came to a conclusion before to Joey's opportunity to reunite with her family on a previous date, she was added to the list of women considered for the upcoming season of The Single Woman. However, there were others who came before her, such as Daisy Kent, Joey's next partner, or the nation's most beloved Maria Jorges. Jenn was named the accompanying unfastened female at the live finale of The Solitary Individual. Regardless, while some viewers were confused by Jenn's anticipation, the majority of independent people thought she was an incredible choice for the lead. Sadly, Jenn was handled so poorly by the foundation that a very large number of people became its opponents. Even though there are still unattached men who follow country music that tune in for The Single Lady every season, the show has lost its spark over time and has never really captured the attention of viewers. The show definitely lacks the regular intensity it formerly had, as demonstrated by Jenn's season, which made it seem as though the series ought to be produced. Examples of this include the awful moment Devon Strader and Jenn were forced to watch their recommendation while having already declared their separation. The Single Young Lady is brimming with clever turns, devious tales, and intense acting among the cast members that does precious little to advance the plot. Although there have been true matches in some seasons of The Solitary Ranger, it's getting increasingly compelling to have a genuine, heartfelt story at the center of every season. Taking everything into consideration, The Single Young Lady has truly turned into a joke, motivating the cast members with every new episode. The Unfastened Female is merely a single series in the foundation that has aged considerably over the course of recent years, missing the mark on the captivating, exciting curves in the street it has previously. Since Jenn's debut on The Single Rangeress, which joined single-person country in questioning the basis of the main lady's hearts, it has become even more evident over the course of the previous season that the Unfastened Woman has a history of mistreating leads. Even though the show has produced some genuinely moving stories, there have always been problems with the way the main character is portrayed, particularly when he or she takes a dramatic turn in The Unfastened Man. The lone wolfess leads are constantly made fun of, ignored in favor of self-assured spectacle, and held responsible for their divisions if their sincere tales fail to elicit any response. Even though it might be an intriguing idea, The Single Lady should definitely terminate if it is unable to focus on the protagonists chosen for the series. If the main character isn't the most important part of the tale, the true show shouldn't be promoting emotional tales for that lead. Regretfully, this is frequently the case on The Single Lady, where the focus of each episode is the competition between contestants or former romantic interests making a comeback. Instead of concentrating on the protagonist's journey as they make important decisions and get utterly engrossed, The Solitary Wolfess is all about show, and should try to rearrange its priorities.